Look at me, I'm so mysterious in the dark and the light, and all this is gonna get really obnoxious. I should probably move. But I'm not gonna move, because what fun would that be? Yeah, this is my getting to know a Power Rangers fan video. This is something that went around a very, very long time ago, and just recently Dawson brought it back. I think it was just entirely his idea to bring it back. And a lot of things have changed since that. This lighting is terrible. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move. Y'all attach the steering wheel. It's gonna be really funny. Is this any better? Oh, sorry. Is it any better? No, that's not any better. Let's go over here. Much better. Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I don't know if this was just his idea or if he was tagged by someone else or what. But I decided to go ahead and do it again because why not? Things have very much changed since the last time I did a video like this. We've had several more years of Power Rangers, so some things might be a little bit different. Plus, a lot of Toku has happened since then too, and some of these questions are a little bit more broad. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the questions. Question 1, how long have you been a Power Rangers fan? When did Day of the Dumpster air? Was it August 23rd, 1993, I think? Yeah, that day. I don't have any real recollection of it. Like, I don't, perfectly, vividly remember sitting on the couch and watching the first episode of Power Rangers. But, I've been there since the beginning in some fashion or another. I saw the ads for it. I'd watched Fox Kids a lot, at that time. For, I believe, stuff like X-Men the Animated Series, I think, was on Fox Kids. I think that was all on Fox Kids. I'll have to go check. But I was watching networks like those all the time. And so when I caught wind of Power Rangers, I'm like, superheroes, robots, this is my kind of thing. And, of course, I just jumped right in. So, since the beginning. Then I left. Is that a question? I don't want to spoil anything. It's not, okay. When Lost Galaxy started airing is when I dropped out of the franchise. The Zordon era had ended. The new cast started with Lost Galaxy. I wasn't really feeling the kind of forced galactic sort of thing. Because Lost Galaxy's, space theme and then the nature-esque footage doesn't always gel together well. And I don't know, Lost Galaxy is something I definitely have to revisit. It's not super high on my list, but I know a lot of people love it, so I do have to revisit it at some point. But, yeah, so Lost Galaxy, I kind of fell out. I casually sort of kept my eye on it as a kid, but it wasn't until SPD that I fully jumped back in, and my friend Jeff showed me Legacy of Power, Dino Thunder episode. That helped a ton. And I kind of went backwards from there. I watched Dino Thunder, and then I just kind of worked my way back. Which is a really weird way of doing things, but that's what I did. What is your earliest Power Rangers memory? Good question. I don't actually have one from early on that I can, vividly remember happening. Like I said, I watched the show every week, and I always went to Toys R Us and bought the toys and all that stuff. The one thing that I have a vivid memory of didn't happen until Zeo, and that was, I was really hyped for the Gold Ranger. I loved the 6th Rangers. I always loved the Green Ranger and the White Ranger. Their suits are always really super cool, and of course the Gold Ranger was no exception. I thought he was absolutely awesome looking, and I still do, still one of my favorite suits. And so when around the time that his figure was supposed to start coming out, I was checking Toys R Us every opportunity I could to have my mom take me over there. And I remember one time, I went down the aisle, I kind of scoped the figures and didn't really see anything new at all, and I was really bummed, and so I was kind of moping around the aisle a little bit. And I saw one figure face down, on top of, the bikes or whatever it was. Not, the actual bikes, but the Power Ranger bikes. The bike figures. And I remember picking it up and flipping it over. And it was the Gold Ranger figure. And I flipped. And I was so excited the rest of the day. I still have that Gold Ranger figure, and it was really cool. And I was really happy about that. Another thing I actually remember pretty well happened right before Zeo, and that was when Toys R Us, at the kind of where the vending machine thingies are for the capsule toys and stuff, they had the Bandai Card-Ass series, the Cardzillion, I think is what they called it over here, and they were little trading cards that you put like a quarter in and it spit out a trading card at you. And I remember trying to collect all of these, and it was around the time of MMPR Season 3, and I put my quarter in, I turned the crank, it spit out a card, I flipped the card over, and it's the Zeo Rangers. It was a preview card for what was to come, because it was right around the tail end of Season 3 where they were doing like the Zeo Serial and the Zeo Quest and stuff like that. I flipped that card over and it was the Zeo Rangers. I flipped again. So I got a lot of fond memories of Zeo, actually, as much as I don't particularly enjoy watching it a whole lot as a season. I have a ton of fond memories of it. Who is your favorite Ranger? I don't know if I have one particular favorite Ranger. But RJ is definitely up there. I think he's probably the greatest mentor character. Super fun to watch. He's mellow, and I dig that a lot. Ziggy is another character that I love. I love those kind of characters that are kind of quirky and laid back, but I think RJ ultimately is probably my favorite Ranger just because of what he stood for and what he was in that season. Plus, Jungle Fury's just freaking great. So, yeah, I think I might have to overall kind of hand it to RJ. RJ is pretty great. What is the most prized possession in your collection? I actually legitimately have no idea. A lot of stuff I had when I was little, I got rid of. Like I said, very few things ultimately stayed with me. Like I said, that Gold Ranger figure is still in my collection. I've since went back and gotten all the other Zeo Rangers, of course, but a lot of things I had when I was a kid are no longer in my possession. I've had to rebuy a lot of things. So I actually don't really know. I don't have it with me, obviously, because I'm recording this in my car. But one of the things I really love in my collection is actually super recent, and that is my giant poster of the 2017 Power Rangers movie, signed by all the main characters and cast, and I think the crew. I think a small chunk of the crew is on there too. But Dean Israelite, I think, is the one that signed it. I think he did. I don't remember. But that is a huge prized possession for me. That was sent from Lionsgate to the Power Force people. And that I feel is kind of like my most prized possession, only because of what it represents. One, that movie was a big deal to me. I went to the premiere. I have the greatest time of my life there. And I feel like that was kind of the culmination of my, like, geekdom in this entire fan base. I don't think anything I do is going to amount to going to a movie premiere again. And so what that movie represents for me and what that poster represents for me, I think is ultimately why it's such a prized piece of my collection. And so like I said, it's not actually a toy. You'd think the toy guy would have like a super holy grail toy, but nope, it's a poster that's signed. I love it. What are your other interests besides Power Rangers? Transformers. Love Transformers. Pokemon is probably the second biggest thing in my life, potentially the biggest thing in my life, over Power Rangers. Of course, the other various facets of Tokusatsu, Ultraman, Super Sentai, Power Rangers, all that. So I dig all that. I need all that. I love it. And of course, I follow Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, DC Comics, DC TV, stuff like that. But definitely like Pokemon, Power Rangers, Transformers are like my biggest three things. Alright, what is the origin of your YouTube screen name? I'll start with Shukuin Shinobi. Shukuin is a Japanese word for destiny, or destined, and Shinobi obviously is Shinobi. At the time, I was in high school, nerdy kid in Japanese club, and I really liked Naruto at the time, which I oddly enough, never actually finished reading or watching. But really loved Naruto at the time, so that's where Shinobi came from. And Shukuen, like I said, was just a word for destiny that I thought sounded really cool as a name. And so I became Shukuen Shinobi, and that just kind of stuck. If I knew that I was going to be doing like tokusatsu toy reviews, I probably would have came up with something a little more toku-centric, and not that. But that is ultimately what stuck, and then eventually I had the courage to rebrand into CollectorShuki. Collector, because I collect a lot of things. Too many things, one would say. And Shuki is just what everyone called me, because Shukuen short for Shuki, or Shuki short for Shukuen. But anyway, Shuki is what everyone called me, and that's kind of what everyone still calls me. So I just kind of went with that. I liked it a lot. Shuki is a lot easier to tell people. CollectorShuki is a lot easier of a name to tell people, because they'll often get Shuki right, S-H-U-K-I. It's an actual like name, both in Japan and in Israel. But it's an actual name that people can know and write down. So CollectorShuki is a lot easier to say than, oh yeah, I'm Shukuen Shinobi. And they're like, how do you spell it? I'm like, S-H-U-K-U-E-N, S-H-I-N-O-B-I. And it's just a whole thing. It's a lot easier. What YouTube videos do you watch? I watch a whole bunch of stuff. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. Super Carlin Brothers are great. Lamar Wilson's great. iJustine's great. I occasionally watch some Techno Buffalo stuff for tech-related things. For games, I watch Markiplier and Jacksepticeye occasionally. I gotta give some props to some more, like, focused channels. Star Wars Explained, The No from Rooster Teeth. What else? Like I said, a lot of things. I am really addicted to watching, like, arcade claw videos. So shout out to Claw Craziness and Carson Claws. They're two people that are fairly local to me. Never met them. Would love to, but I haven't met them or anything. But they are fairly local. They occasionally go to some places that I go to. So I love watching them. There's something satisfying about watching arcade videos, I think. But so I watched those, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm missing out on. A huge shout out to Squall. Squall Charleston. If you haven't been watching any of his stuff, please do. He's great. He's everything I wish I was. So go check out his stuff as far as Toku-related things are concerned. And of course, I always watch all the videos that we put out at the Tokusatsu Network. So that's about it for Toku. I do watch a couple toy reviewers occasionally. If Dawson puts up something that I have no like real interest in getting, I'll go ahead and watch it and check it out. Same with Long's Toys and Jedimon and all that. But in terms of Japanese toy reviewers, K2 Azo is Wizubo, whatever. Wotaku, Kyoryuger JP, which is now Joe Kaiger, I think is his name now. I watch them occasionally. A lot of the stuff they get is the stuff I get too, so I'll really only check it out if... I'll check out K2 a lot just because it helps me in my writing for CS Toys to know exactly what the toy does ahead of time, so I'll often check that out. But with like Leon Channel, Wotaku, Jokaiger, and stuff like that, I just kind of check them out if it's something that looks kind of cool, because they're fun to watch for sure. So yeah, that is most of my YouTube viewing. Game Theorists every now and then. I'm forgetting things I watch all the time, I'm sure, and it's driving me nuts, but yeah, I think that's enough. That's enough for my viewing habits. Alright, 8, 9, and 10 is what is your favorite season, what is your favorite villain, and what is your favorite Megazord. Favorite season, Power Rangers SPD. That is mostly a bias just because it's the one that pulled me back into this franchise, and I absolutely respect it for that. In terms of an actual favorite season, it's probably either RPM or Dino Thunder. I like both a lot. I also really love In Space. I love Jungle Fury, Mystic Force. So I'll do a top like 5 eventually and all that. But the one that I hold closest to my heart is probably Power Rangers SPD, because like I said, it's the one that pulled me back in. In terms of the favorite villain, I've got two answers for this one. One, favorite villain in general is most definitely Korag. I love his story. It's a very cliche story, don't get me wrong, but I love his suit. I love Wolf Warrior's suit. I just love... He was very Ecliptor-esque, and I love that. I love villains that have a level of honor to them, because I think that's really neat. You don't see that all the time. I mean, you do sometimes, but regardless, I love Korag. I love everything he stands for, everything he is. So he's definitely my favorite villain overall. In terms of actual main villain, I gotta hand it to Megazord. Mostly because he is one of the most threatening of the villains, I feel. Just like looking at him, like there's some villains that you go, okay, I mean, I guess. Like Astronema, I love Astronema's story. It's a great story, absolutely phenomenal in that regard. But like, if you like turn down an alleyway and like Astronema was there, you'd probably just think she's a hooker. And so, like, that's not incredibly threatening. Lothor just kind of looks like a weird, like, long-haired luchador. So, again, I mean, threatening in his own way, but not in, like, a, poop my pants kind of thing. But Megazord, man, Grum, I guess, kind of, too, but now I'd be more worried about Grum sexually harassing people instead. But, is that too soon? But Megazord, man, you turn the corner and Megazord's there, you're just done. You're just done. I'd have another heart attack and probably die this time. Done. Like, he's threatening, he looks scary, he sounds scary, he's got a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on that is also a certain level of scary. And so I just gotta hand it to Megazord, man. He'd probably just make me poop myself. Good for him. But as for the Megazord, the swap Megazord. I love the swap Megazord. I don't know why. I've just always had a fascination with the swap Megazord. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's a base black with the colors, which I think is unique in some regards. We don't get that all too often with Megazords. They use white as a base a lot, and it's coherent throughout the whole robot. And plus it turns into a gun, which is really cool. So there's that. In terms of favorite main Megazord, 110% the Titan Megazord. I love the Titan Megazord. I love its dragon mode. I love the Centaurus Phoenix Megazord. I love the Centaurus Wolf Megazord too. Don't get me wrong, but the Phoenix one, that red, that black, that gold all together, perfect. Love it. Favorite color scheme. Probably my favorite robot overall too, but the Titan Megazord just gets me. I love... Mystic Force has really good Megazords, except for Manticore. I don't particularly like... I like Manticore's design. I just don't like its toy. I don't like anything that's motorized. It just ruins it. But anyway, that is that for the Getting to Know a Power Rangers fan. Dawson said he was going to probably do one for Sentai and Rider and stuff, so if he does, I'll be sure to do them. If he doesn't, I'll still be sure to do them, because I think it would be pretty fun. And it kind of clears up a lot of the, oh, what's your favorite this, what's your favorite that questions that I get all the time, so I'll just link to this video all the time. But that is that. I gotta get home, I got some work to do, so that about does it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them down there. But as for now, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great one. Bye. I'd like to thank Joey, Mr. Mike, Josh, VZ17, and all my fans who support me on Patreon.